back to another episode of Sip with Joy. If this is your first time joining, welcome. Sip with Joy is a show about a girl, her wine, and her feelings. And I am that girl. I am your host, Joy M. Hutton, serial entrepreneur and lover of food and wine. And today's wine selection is a Pinot Gris. It's actually a Pinot Gris and Sauvignon Blanc blend. It's by Pure Noir. It's a black owned wine brand here in Houston. So, as you know, I'll tell you more about this on the Sip of the Day on Instagram at Sip with Joy. So, make sure you're following there. And I got to take my sip before I get started. But welcome back again for another Monday. That is so good. I can't wait to tell you guys more about that. Okay, so yeah, it is Black History Month, Black all month long, all year long, okay, for me. All right, so today's episode, we're going to get into it. It's titled Main Character Energy. And, I want to talk about, are you the main character of your life story or movie? And, unfortunately, this past weekend, I went to a service for a close friend of mine that had passed. But the eulogy was titled My Life Story. And the pastor had challenged us to think about what our life story is. What will people remember you for? What will your legacy be? And he was like, Pam, she did her work. That was my friend's name. She did her work. So now it's not about Pam anymore. It's about you and what you're going to do. And I really love how he put that. And it hit really hard because I was like, okay, we often spend too much time, thinking about the future, worrying about what the future holds, and we can literally be gone today. Not even gone tomorrow, gone today. So, hey, Lizzle. That's my bestie. But yeah, so we can be gone today. So if you've been listening to this season, it's kind of a theme here, and I like to try to make sure that each episode flows into the other. But this particular theme, I had to think about it as I was talking to my friend Robin. I was like, what is the theme of this season? And it's kind of been personal development, transformation, and growth. And this has been a challenging season for me because I am being stretched in so many different ways, but I'm growing and I'm healing, from a lot of things. And so, what I do want to be remembered for, when I think about what that pastor is talking about, I was speaking to someone a few weeks ago and realized that there is a common thread in the work that I do. So, for those who don't know what I do, I have a consulting firm, I have a beauty tech startup, but I do a number of other things. And so, the common thread was working with startups, working with women entrepreneurs, particularly women of color. And I'm not really one to put myself in a box. I tell you guys that all the time because I have a lot of different interests, and I still do. I mean, obviously wine, I have a beauty business, I have a consulting firm, but I'm not one to put myself in a box. But there's a difference between being put in a box and then your calling. And now I see that the work that I do with women entrepreneurs and people of color is actually my calling. And I resisted people calling me a coach for a long time. It's because people out here on Instagram, you got these fake Instagram coaches out here charging people a bunch of money and giving people poor advice. So I resisted being called a coach for a long time, and then somehow found myself doing that work in that capacity and coaching people, business coaching, and being a mentor, being an advisor, a startup advisor. So it's a lot of things that I have fought and resisted in my career, and actually those same things have become a calling. Hey, Robin. And so, I think about that because I would fight y'all, like, no, don't call me a coach, don't do this, I don't want to just be put in this particular box. And then these things are exactly what I'm doing today. So think about, kind of in your own life what you may have resisted or turned your nose up to, and somehow it found its way back to you. And it's a lot of things that have done that have happened in my life. And I wouldn't say I resisted wine because I would never do that, but I put it on hold. It was a dream that was deferred, and so now, I'm being intentional about being in the wine space, and wine bar will be coming one day. Don't know when, but it will be coming. Hey, Elsie. And so, but I continue to find my way back to spaces that are purposeful. And death unfortunately always triggers thoughts of how we need to live this one life that we have. And I think the older that I get, and having lost my sister and other loved ones, it's become even more critical. Like, okay, how am I going to utilize this one life that I have? Hey, Jennifer. And so, finding joy, pun intended, but finding joy and happiness is something that I choose every day despite what's going on. Um, finding small moments of happiness and gratitude in my day, because it's easy to just kind of fall into a dark space. And so I'm really being intentional about not doing that. And so when I listened to that pastor's message, I looked around the room, and was so enamored by the amount of people that loved my friend. And, she did the work while she was here and made a huge impact. And so now it's up to us. It's up to us to do the same because we are still here. And so I have to tell myself that, like, you have this one life to live. And so what are you going to do with it? Hey, Adele. And so I think about my sister as well and how she left an indelible mark on this earth. And not a single day goes by where she is not connected to something that I'm doing. And, finding joy is not just about gratitude, but it's also about peace. And so, finding the things that make me happy, so things that I resisted have now become a source of happiness. And I started taking solo trips after my sister passed because that we used to celebrate our birthdays. Our birthdays were six days apart, so that was something that we did. And I started taking solo trips because I'm like, okay, my sister's not here to celebrate my birthday, or celebrate our birthdays together, and I'm also not gonna let some ninja mess up my birthday either. It's gonna take the right one. So I stopped doing that a long time ago. Like, Negro, you are not about to mess up my birthday. But if you have not taken a solo trip, do it. I have a friend that I encourage to travel solo, and she said it was the best thing for her. So that's something that I do to kind of ground myself, to center myself now. And, it's just peaceful. And I move on my own terms. I eat what I want to eat, wake up what I want to wake up, have an opportunity to rest, reflect, and most of all, reset. And when I don't get those opportunities to solo travel, I feel completely off. Like last year for my birthday, I did not get to do my solo trip, and I feel like that set the tone for my entire year. But I'm not claiming that this year because, I will have an opportunity to reset. Robin said, absolutely living life out loud and no regrets joy. YOLO, yes. Robin is the queen of YOLO. As I always say, we never know how long we have. And Lydia said, yes, live your life, joy. God is so good. Absolutely. We have this one life. And so Jennifer asks, how do you travel solo safely? Good question. So I pick places when I travel solo, I pick places that have been on the list of places to go solo. So I try to avoid big cities because I ain't trying to get snatched up, locked up, any of that. And so my first trip was to St. Lucia, and I usually choose boutique hotels to go to instead of resorts because I don't like being around people's kids, and I know there are adult only resorts, but I like being in intimate spaces. So I picked boutique hotels. Like when I was in St. Lucia, it was a hotel that was like 14 rooms, 14 villas, and so I just go, and it's quiet, it's peaceful. So yeah, I usually try to stay like on the outskirts of a major city, or like I said, I stay in a boutique hotel, and I do some research before I go to see what are the best places to travel solo. And I follow a lot of travel bloggers as well to see places that they go to. But when I tell you all, it is so peaceful, and for me, it's just finding that quiet time because. And I immediately have anxiety when I come back to Houston. I'm like, ugh, I'm back, because I think when you go home, it's attached to work, it's attached to stress, it's attached to all the things that are going on around you, and you have to find the space to detach. So that's the moment for me. Or even if I can't go international, which I usually try to choose an international destination, but just go somewhere for the weekend. I've done that. I've done a staycation or the getaway house. It's tiny, but it will force you to unplug because you have no Wi-Fi when you're there, so you're forced to unplug. Um, so, hey Sheila. Sheila says solo travel is becoming more popular, no frustration, aligning with someone else's agenda. Exactly. You ain't got to worry about nobody. I do what I want. So I definitely encourage solo travel. I went to Guatemala, Antigua, and Barbuda. I traveled to solo. So I'm very strategic about the places that I choose because I want to feel safe. And I usually have the hotel arrange a driver, so I'm not just hopping in the car with random people because, like I said, y'all don't. I don't want y'all to see me coming up missing on CNN. That would not be a good look. So I try to again do my research. So yeah, it is definitely becoming popular because people want peace. People want peace, and I love traveling with my friends. Me and my girl Robin, we will pick up and go, but you can't travel with everybody. And so sometimes you just have to take that time to unplug for yourself. So, and I know for me too, it's just, you know, I I want to just take the time that I need for myself, because you get caught up in the hustle and bustle of work, and we don't take time to unplug. Like, it's one thing to take a nap at home. It's another thing to be laid out on a beach somewhere, or to really unplug, like not take my computer, not be on the phone. Sheila says she went to Dubai, South Africa, Tanzania. Okay, Sheila. Listen, Tanzania is definitely on my list. I have so many places, and I tell people, get out and see the world if you can. Like, to put that travel fund aside. Put that travel fund aside. Stop buying stuff that you don't need, and put that money into your travel fund, because there's nothing like seeing the world. It's just so much to see. I love traveling. It gives me a lot of peace, and so yeah. So kind of going back to the topic of just living living your life. What's going to be your life story? What do you want to be remembered for? And I want to be remembered for giving back and pouring into others. Thank you, Train. And also, I want to be known for living a full life that that's full of joy, and taking care of this one body that I have. I don't want people to be like, she spent her last days depressed, she don't come out of the house. Now when I'm in Houston, I really don't come out a lot, but I spend time with the people that I want to spend with, and that is an intentional move, because y'all ain't gonna have me out here in these streets stressed out. But and also, like, speaking about taking care of yourself, like getting back into a workout routine and all the things that you need to do as you get older, it's a struggle, y'all. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and say I work out 7 days a week, because I don't. But I want to look good and I want to feel good, and so I'm getting back into a routine, okay? Because I want y'all to be prepared to be sick of me this summer, okay? So Sheila said, I was just thinking the same. Homebody when I'm home. Right. When I'm traveling, I am out. I'm out in the streets. But when I'm home, I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to go out. So I really have to force myself to do that. Because I'm like, when I go outside in Houston, I'm like, see, and this is why I stay home. But seriously, though, think about, what are your passions? What gets you excited? Who has had an impact on you? I think of so many people over the years, even with my friend that just passed. Like, I mean, she was a star, and so I think about, man, it's like, why do all the good people have to live this earth? Is this earth just too ghetto? Is this earth just too, are they too good for this earth? But I want, again, to just live a beautiful life for as long as I have here. And so, speaking of what you want to be remembered for, okay, I couldn't just pick one what the sip. So, I do this what the sip segment. I couldn't just do one, y'all. Okay, so the first one I'm going to start with is Krishan Rock and Blueface. If you know who that is, if not, Google it. But don't do it on Instagram, because then these people are gonna be popping up in your feed all the time. I wish Instagram had a filter where you could filter out certain content you didn't want to see based on a person's name or whatever, so it's just not popping up anywhere in your feed. But anyway, this girl had already had like 7 tattoos of this man on her body, one big one on her neck. She was trying to hide the tattoo, like she's been covering it up. Then she goes and puts a tattoo of this man on her face. Like, I just can't. Like, you ruin your beautiful face for a man who really doesn't even give a damn about you. That's the first piece of news. Second is Nikki and Megan beefing. Again, the things that you put out there are going to follow you. How do you want to be remembered? Do you want to be remembered for beefing with somebody that's a decade more younger than you? Like, come on. Like, we have to pick our battles. And I think, again, life is just too short, and people are wasting it on things that don't matter. Things and people that don't matter. Megan is not thinking about her in that way. Well, she is. I mean, Megan took some digs too. But I just feel like all this is unnecessary. Nikki, her beef with Megan, and vice versa. Like, why are you out here talking about each other? Like, just stop. Get back to originality in music. Focus on your music and stop playing with people. Okay. Next, Beyonce did not get album of the year, and she has the most Grammys ever. Didn't get album of the year. Jay Z called it out, and it's like, you want people to put respect on your name, but at the end of the day, Beyonce will always be remembered for the work that she has done, to what she has contributed to society. And she was so unbothered when she was at the Grammys yesterday. She's like, we're gonna go here, go get this award, and then we probably won't be back for a while until Blue gets her next Grammy. But it's just, you want people to put respect on your name. And then you have Taylor Swift winning album of the year, and then people are saying she snubbed Celine Dion. Okay, so I looked at the video again, y'all. I don't know if she was just excited and she just was kind of in the zone. I don't know if she really snubbed Celine. I would hate to think that she did, because Celine was standing right there, and she didn't. She just kind of grabbed the Grammy, and then she went on about her business. They're dragging her on the internet for dubbing, I mean, for snubbing Queen Celine Dion. So we're gonna hope that that's not gonna be Taylor Swift's legacy going down. But hey, you all tell me what you think if she snubs Celine Dion. I don't know. I watched the video a couple of times. LC said IG is ghetto. It is. IG is super ghetto. I can't keep up. So yeah, I just think it is too much going on out here, and I think we have to really think about what we put out there. I don't want people remembering me for bad things. Like, I think Ready to Love will forever follow me, but I don't want that to be my legacy. I am an entrepreneur. I was an entrepreneur before I went on Ready to Love. I was a whole professional. I want to be known for putting out content like this, like what, you know, helping people. Like I said earlier, that's going to be a part of my legacy. It will not be, girl, that's that girl from Ready to Love. No, I'm a whole entrepreneur. I'm a whole human being that cares about people. So, again, remember, think about what you want to be remembered for and live your life to the fullest. So, I want to continue to be a source of light in this world, that can sometimes feel so dark because it's just so much going on, and it's just like I looked at posts at the beginning of this year and even at the end of last year where people were talking about how hard 2023 was for them. And I can relate. 2023 was hard for me too. And some people, you don't even realize it. You're like, "Oh my god, it just seemed like she was living her best life." I mean, people are not going to always put the bad out there. But life is hard. Life be lifing, and I don't know if it's just because we get older and it's just more problems, but life be lifing. And so, I want to leave the world a little bit brighter and better than I found it or than when I came here. And I want everybody else to do the same. Oh God, Adele. LC said that seems like a lifetime ago when you were on there. I know, and I'm like, come on, let's just put it to rest. So, yeah. So there are so many other things I would love to be remembered for. On the go glam. I have a whole business, coaching thousands of entrepreneurs. Sip with joy, being a lover of wine, all the things. So, yeah, so many things, guys. So much more than that. But I'm excited about next week's episode. I'm taking a little bit of a shift. Next week's episode, I'm going to have a male guest, and we're going to be talking about he's just not that into you. Because I'm really tired of talking about dating. I want to shift my perspective in this space because I'm tired of talking about it. And when I say that, it is tired of talking about the same thing over and over again. I always say to my friends, I'm like, it's just rinse and repeat. And I'm tired of talking about the negative things about dating and want to shift my perspective so that I can attract the person that is for me. Because what I am finding is that it's just a lot of selfish people out there. And not only that, there are just a lot of people who don't want to be in committed relationships. And that's fine. But I want to attract the person that's for me. And then I also want to recognize when he's just not that into me. And I think by this age, we do recognize the signs, but it helps to hear it from a male perspective. So, again, I will be joined by a male guest next week who will talk about that because I'm sick of this shit. So, until next week, you all go out there and be great. And I will see you all back here next Monday. Hi.